Hello, this is the Overthinker. Welcome back. Today we got a preview versus the Ravens. How can we win this game? Now, for me, this is a really important game for the Lions to try and build some momentum going into the toughest stretch of our schedule. We got some tough games coming up, but none tougher than probably on the road versus the Ravens. And the Ravens have basically been one of the best teams in the NFL the last few years, probably a top 4 team. And I think going into this year, most people have them in the top 3 or 4 teams. And so far, the Ravens have been pretty good. They kind of weren't great in the first half versus the Browns. Lamar just kind of had a weird day, was missing some throws and stuff like that. And they didn't really get the run game going with Derrick Henry. They were trying to throw the ball a lot more. And the run game just really wasn't popping off versus the Browns. And also a fumble by Derrick Henry allowed the Browns to stay in the game. Derrick Henry having back-to-back fumbles in the first 2 weeks of the season. So I do think that is something the Lions are going to try to do, kind of jump on his back and try to punch the ball out as he's going down. Yeah, definitely. I think if you want to beat a team like the Ravens on the road, you got to look at turnovers and you got to look at trying to run the ball and establish that and try to shorten the game, basically lessen the amount of possessions that's going to happen in this game. I don't think the Lions want to try and make this a high-scoring game. I think they want to try to run the ball as much as they can, and I do think that is the way you want to try and win this game. The Lions last week versus the Bears did a pretty good job running the ball on the offensive line. It was way better than week 1, and it's going to have to be even better versus the Ravens. But the Browns were able to move the ball on the ground versus the Ravens. They just really couldn't throw the ball with the play action. That stuff just wasn't there. So yeah, that's really big. If the Lions can get some big plays down the field, it's going to open up things underneath for the run game and the screen game as well as throws over the middle to tight ends and stuff. The Lions did a lot of that versus the Bears, of course. So yeah, I really do expect the first few drives for the Lions to be running the ball a ton under center. And just trying to wear that defense down and just try to keep it going and open up the play action and open up, the screen game and all that stuff. Because, yeah, I really think the Ravens are a team that is built to score a lot of points. Now, as far as the Lions in a different game script, it could be an interesting game if it goes that way because the Lions potentially have pretty good personnel for that. If they come out in a lot more 3 wide receiver sets and we're trying to score more points, you would definitely get some more targets for Isaac Tesla. And yeah, I think if you look at the Lions' 3 wide receiver personnel, it's about as good as any team in the NFL. If you look at their top 3 receivers plus Laporta at tight end, and we have running backs that can also get out in the pass game, catch the ball, especially Gibbs. He can be very electric if you get the ball to him in space, of course. So, yeah, if the game goes that way, it could be a very fun watch, but I just don't want to play that kind of game versus Lamar. Lamar has just proven over and over again he's going to be on fire if it's going to be a high-scoring game where he gets to throw the ball 40 times. And, yeah, I just don't really think that's the game script you want to go with, especially with the Lions' defense not being amazing so far. Yeah, so hopefully we can keep the ball on the ground, run a lot of play action, stuff like that. Try to get a few turnovers, and that will be the key to success. Now, as far as the Ravens, they can get turnovers too. They got guys like Hamilton and Nate Wiggins. Those guys are really good. Now, for the Ravens, they do have quite a few guys that might be missing this game. They have Nate Wiggins, questionable with a groin injury, probably going to play, but they have Matt Abuke, defensive tackle with a neck injury, probably not going to play. Kyle Van Noy, hamstring edge rusher, probably not going to play. Isaiah Likely, the tight end, also very important player. It's looking like he probably won't play, but he might try. And then the fullback, Patrick Ricard, probably not going to play with a calf injury. So that is pretty much, those are some pretty important players for the Ravens. And I think if Isaiah Likely plays, it does kind of change this game quite a bit. Basically, through the first couple of weeks here, Mark Andrews just has only had 2 targets and just really hasn't been part of the passing game, and that's probably by design. The Ravens probably kind of want to try to get some other guys involved, maybe, or maybe they just don't trust him as much, or maybe he's just not really getting open as much. But yeah, Isaiah Likely, if he's back in the lineup, I feel like he will get a lot of targets and be a very good player over the middle, obviously. So yeah, I think if Isaiah Likely plays, that does change things a lot as far as covering the middle of the field for linebackers and stuff. He's a guy who's really good at finding holes in the zones and breaking tackles. And yeah, on the Lions side, we have Marcus Davenport, probably not going to play with a chest injury, looks like. DJ Reed had a knee injury show up in practice, but he's likely to play. Jack Campbell, ankle injury, likely to play. And Kirby Joseph with a knee injury, likely to play. I guess he played through that last week. So yeah, for the Lions, there are 4 questionable guys. And for the Ravens, there are 5. However, for the Ravens, 4 of those 5 are likely not going to play. So yeah, hopefully the Lions can come out and run the ball well. And obviously stop the run on defense. That's huge, especially with Lamar and stuff. That's always a key factor on defense. He is such a fast player, and he's very good at making guys miss as well. He can, scramble as well. A lot of times he likes to scramble the throw, so that just can be incredibly difficult to stop. And yeah, hopefully we can kind of have that, run game script. But even if things go the other way, Jared Goff has been pretty good so far this season, and I think he's kind of on a heater. So even if we get in that kind of scenario where we have to throw the ball 45 times or something, it's not like I don't trust him. I feel like he's going to do what he can and, get some points scored. It's more like I just don't really want to get into that kind of game on the road versus the Ravens. It's going to be loud. Definitely not what I want for the Lions. I want to, keep the ball on the ground, tighten the game, try to get turnovers. And, yeah, that's pretty much all I got. Hope the Lions win, obviously. Ravens favored by 4.5. Looks like the Lions moving a little bit towards the Lions at the moment. It was at 5. And, yeah, hopefully the Lions can pull this one off in prime time and come away with a W. Probably the most difficult game of the schedule, and then it's on to the Bengals. But that is all I have for you today. We'll catch you in the next video.